Hello my friends and welcome to my channel. I'm Kate in the nest, not in the nest, but this video is going to be about nesting. So here I am away from home and I want to say thank you for your welcomes back to me. I hope you are well. It's midweek, it's only Tuesday, and here I am again because I've missed you and I'm doing some stitching. So it is going to be a specific make today because I did share with you whatever day I made my last video that I have been traveling with my threads in this beautiful vintage clutch pouch. But while I'm here and have plenty of time to stitch, I don't need to be as contained on my lap, and I have time and scraps to spare. So I want to take these threads, better check that you can see those. I want to take these threads out of here and put them where I love to keep my threads, and that's in a nest. So if you haven't seen a nest before, this video might be handy for you. If you have, I hope it's okay, but I happen to have with me, I bought supplies to keep me going so that I can make new pieces. And so here we go. This is a beautiful blanket that I bought from New Zealand. So it's come in my suitcase home with me, and now to where I am away from home. It is beautiful pink with brown tinges, and this will be used a lot in my upcoming workshops, wherever they may be. I can't remember what's next. And we're going to adorn it. Now, in my hotel room, I don't have a dinner plate. Usually I suggest that you find a shape. I'm just looking at the wonkiness of that. A dinner plate. So all I did was I used the squares of the blanket to get me a square, folded it in quarters and curved it. Now, you can do better than that, girls, I'm sure. Now, once I had that, it doesn't matter to me because they're wonky and they're not perfect, and that's how natural things go together. They're not, birds, I've never thought about that, but birds must have a natural way of selecting the right lengths for their nest. Okay, so I did that first, and then I cut a strip of blanket. Now, I've measured out all the projects I'm going to make, so I knew I didn't have a lot of blanket for the size of the nest or for this nest itself. So what I've done is cut one continuous strip and then a second one, and I've joined them together, and instead of making it single, where I had room, I doubled it up, if that makes sense. So I've patched it. So these two sides of the nest are double blanket thick. And does it look funny? Of course it looks funny, but it's all going to be covered up. So it is standing up, and I've talked about this before, that it depends on the thickness of your blanket, the size of the walls, all sorts of variables go into whether how high and how strong the sides of the nest are. So this one I've gone for a big base, because that way I can easily see all of my threads while they're in there. And I can just carry that around the hotel room from here at the desk to the bed, etc. And if I wanted to stitch anywhere else, I went. Okay, so I've gone for big base and not too high a where will I put all these? If I had a nest, I'd put them on, but they're going back into there for the moment. If you hear a crash, they'll have just fallen. That's stayed there, so that must be meant to be stitched with next. So that's the foundation, base and sides. And here in the background, here's Toad of Hope, January, February, March side, upside down, just so you've always got a little bit of a garden. That is a building works that is happening next door, so I apologize for the noise, but it's not going to stop us creating So with me, I bought lots of scrappy material. Oh, there's my, do you use these? When I travel, oh gosh, if it's even on the plane, you can use these. And I like this one because it's pink. That was a gift from Zoe to all of us who went to the Green Door on tour in Wellington. There's some thread that shouldn't be in there. And we'll just chop that off. Okay, so when we make a nest, we literally, oh, there's my little piece. I'll show you that later. More cotton, more wool, I mean. Literally, we don't plan. We start with scrappies. If I have a doily or something that I want to feature in the middle, I can put it there, and I might have one, or if not, I'll have one when I go home. We're going to use my current fabrics in this one, many of which have got roses on it. There's a bit of cantha that could go on there, but I don't think so. So let's just do some foraging for little bits, particularly scrappy bits. So that's one. Oh, I'm down to one needle in my pack. That is so precious. That's a scrappy bit. I've got that, which is, I like that. I like everything, you know that. There's a story with this fabric. What else have I got? I bought some sari that I had. Well, you've seen this sari before. It's so useful. Just buried the scissors. So how's your week started? Is it a busy one? Or time to make? We've got a pause from the drill. So, you know, some people ask me where I start. I just start with fabrics that I love. And we just go from there. Now, if that noise gets too annoying, just turn me off, because you can just watch my hands. So I'm sort of, am I cutting these into, no, I'm just going to let them do the work for me. Do you think that could go all video? It might, so it might be a short video. That's a good sound. Let's stop for the moment. Oh. Flo gave me some of this fabric, which is very, I didn't realise I had that much of it. It's beautiful, vintage. That's what we do, don't we? We all share with each other, and it becomes a just part of the story. Okay, let's get stitching. And I'm going to start with this big rose piece, and we're going to cover over this join and start the collage process. Now, I could go over the top and bind that, but I'm not going to. So warning again, turn the sound off and just watch my hands. I can try and talk over the top of it, but you know, all I'm going to be saying is just start stitching. Let's have a look. So I've learned more and more to be totally free at the beginning of a nest, because it is the randomness that can end up being the most beautiful. So I suppose if we analyse, the first and chief aim is to cover the blanket and to leave edges so that you can prop things underneath. So I like this bit of braid. Will it be that long in the end? I'm not sure. It's going over the top here. And now we're going to come back up here and do some stitches to adhere it. For a little bit. Julie, I'm so sorry. I'll stop and come back. Okay, this is part 2. It's been quieted for a little while, but I feel that if I stop, even when I start, it might start again. So please, please know that I have no control over the noise out there, but I want this nest not to sit idle. So let's just stitch. It can be a very short video. It doesn't matter. It's just more to stitch along with you to share the challenges, perhaps, of filming when not in the nest. So I've got a little bit of this block print and increasingly just random scraps that turn into beauty. If you have beautiful things around you, it can't help but end up beautiful. So let's harvest this a little bit. I hope you're in your happy place, because I imagine that you can tell that I'm in mine. A morning stitch is just luxury. And I did forget that many of you say you don't actually watch, you just listen. So how's that for not thinking that through when I said it. Okay, I'm done onto this flower, and I'm going to do just a little bit of satin stitch to embroider as I go. And so every stitch secures, and my stitching is deliberately highly visible. There we go. So we have a flower. I'll probably take that, we'll colour in that petal against a bit of block print. Scrappy Bits can go to the side. We've got a beautiful part of a rose there to embroider, but let's continue on our adventure. I don't really want that white stripe there, like the selvage, so we'll just take that off. what will we use now? Some of this pretty. I mean, I can't believe that it's already, oh yeah, that's nice. So a week ago today, I was starting the Fleur and Kate Textiles and Treasures. Already a week. That does seem crazy. So again, I'm feeling like I don't want an even edge on this one so far. Top edge. So rip that. Flowers at the top. And I suppose one of the rules is that I give myself, well, it's not a rule, but I suppose an observation I make is I get drawn to the big florals, and then the spaces in between I end up covering. So let's go to a really contrast cotton now that we haven't used before. This is that thick number 3 pearl. I was listening to, was it you, Colette, or someone said it used to be called pearl, so I'm going to just call it pearl thread now, because that's when I used to crochet it when I was a little girl. I remember that Mum would take me to the shop and we'd buy pearl thread, so it doesn't really matter, but I think I was getting mixed up which will I call it, and I didn't want to confuse anybody, so I'm just going to call it pearl thread. So we're coming along here. We want this fabric to stay on, but we also can embroider at the same time. So let's turn this into a little flower as we go past, just with some stitches to highlight the petals. And the reason I like this thread is it's cotton and a different feel to the wool, but it's still nice and thick and it's variegated. And then we'll go up here and do another one. So we'll do this one first. We've got 2 little embroidered flowers there, and because we're in the space, let's make a 3rd one. It's not there in the fabric, but that we can add on ourselves. It's been a happy time. Let's just now have a little random running stitch to get that a little bit more down. And sometimes the thread just falls out, and that tells me it's time to stop. At this point, we're not worrying at all about what it looks like as a finished product. We're just gardening. So we've got flowers, random, braid, block print, rows in here. I mentioned this. You could go straight on, but I feel that it'd be nice to have some other fabric underneath it. And the beauty of these, as you know, many of you have been making vessels for longer than I. You just, what are the advantages? Well, you never get bored. Everything goes, and it's just a great way to use scraps and offcuts, and it's low stakes. What color am I doing here now? So on here, because it's sort of got a beige background, let's go for something bold. And because that bit's plain, let's put the flower bit over the top. And here's a petal, so let's embroider the petal as we go past it. Oh, there's a spool of cotton. I was just talking to Kiki. Hello, Kiki. We are excitedly, beyond excited, about our Sussex, Wisconsin experience, magical experience. I was just saying to Kiki, I don't want to call the things that I connect with women at retreats, because in my head, and I know that's not traditional, I'm being a bit naughty, but for me the word retreat means to go away and hide, and I know they're not intended like that, but I want everyone to see what we're making and to celebrate that. So our experience is not the right word either, but I'll get there. Will be magical. I reminded her, and I might have said this the other day to you, we chose the date because Kiki said this is when her garden will be. Very beautiful. I think it's beautiful all the time, but she knows how many bulbs, etc. she's got in the ground. Okay, so I've done that there. I feel like I like this colour, so I want to go over here, which coincides with the plain part of the nest of this fabric. Hello Maria, thank you for your tip on the pins. I'm going to use that in future, and if I go out and buy some pins while I'm here, I will put them in containers. So here's a little medallion of a rose. And that can join the garden over here. So I've got those flowers I did before. Which way does this rose want to go? Maybe like that. So it becomes a new piece, part of the fabric. And you can see that these are scrunched up from being in my traveling bag. I'm not going through to the other side. I can feel the beautiful softness of the blanket. And in fact here I can feel that I've got 2 layers of blanket underneath. So that flower's on now. I could trim this back, or I can layer. I think I'll layer it. So like make this look like it's a little special cameo rose. Congratulations for making it so far through. It's actually quiet now. So we've made it past the noisy beginning, first 10 minutes. It's like when the storm is over. Now some of this might get covered over, but that doesn't matter. I feel like going all the way around. Still got a bit of cotton on there, so let's come back to this side, the wool. Let's see where we're up to. Let's take it through to here. Oh, I lost it. Through here onto this piece. So that's going to go all the way around there. I feel like we could colour this in, could we? Oh. So we'll make a blue petal. Orange. Okay, it's like we're off and racing. So in that short time, we have the ideas for the nest. So there's the big rose, a bit of brocade, happy smiling flower, into a cameo, into the rest, and inside we've got it drapey. So nice to sort of, I'll just pin that on while we go looking for some other bits. I've got that brocade. So it is about, oh, that's right. I've got this from that beautiful vintage fabric that I found in my local store. So that and some embroidery could go on the bottom. I'm feeling like something thicker. And I've only got satin. I shouldn't say not type only. But see, something like that, which I could embellish those circles. We'll see if this tears. Can't remember. No, it doesn't. I like that that's all fringy and messy. I've forgotten where I put my needle. Did you notice I'm doing this without any pins at all? And that could just go like there. Where did I last have that? Oh, there it is. Wasn't too far. So I'm thinking that that can go in there. Just make sure that this isn't too bunched up. What am I talking about? I do have a pin here. And see this line at the top? That's like making me imagine that, what if that was a frill? But if I want to go around the circles, I'm going to chop it there. Let's just look for some other bits of fabric. So here's the same fabric that started us off around there. So I do like to layer. And have this flower. And the more layers, the thicker the walls, the sides become of the nest. So there's another little story starting to happen. I can use that one pin, I think, to do it all. So when I stitch this, I'm going to be going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 bits of fabric and 1 bit of blanket. And because we're using blanket though, it's going to be as easy as butter. So there we go. Let's use my beautiful bright marigold wool. Now remember, there is no reason not to tie knots and finish and go over and over. It's just I'm in haste right now to get this done, and sometimes I'm not and sometimes I don't. On a nest, I tend to like frayy bits in particular because that reminds me of a bird's nest. And here I'm going out to the edge, so through all 4 layers. through to this side. And let's help this circle medallion that's on the fabric stand out, so it's like another cameo. Oops. I like to do, if I do rosa stitching, I like to have 3 of them. So we'll count that as 1, like along the top or in a little particular section. I like to think that I'm doing 3, but I don't always check. Right, now it's the last thing we do. Let's see if we can get these 2 bits together. And it may be that I leave this up and tuck something underneath it, like a frill. This bit's looking a little bit long, so let's just, it may be that I trim that, but who knows. So I can see these stitches here, so let's use that pattern on the fabric as a line to stitch. To this pretty flower here, still plenty of wool, so let's add into the stitching that I used initially to put that down. Now you might think this is ugly, and that is okay. I'm eclectic and random, but these nests are truly so much fun to play with, because I just totally just go scrap, 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 bower bird, no plan. And sometimes it's when we're at our freest that the most beauty comes. Sneeze is coming, and so is the end of the thread. So that's all it. Okay, so here we go, my friends. A decision has been made for me accidentally, that now that I've got carried away with that I don't want to cover up that stitching, so that's going to determine that I cut that and I have that little piece of braid for somewhere else on the nest, maybe over there. There we go. I hope if you've survived the jackhammer, the foreign jackhammer, and that you're still with me, that you found something there of interest. So it's the beginning of a nest with a theme of roses, beautiful fabric that will be embellished and adorned and tell a story. And it's done. And there's a, let's finish with, yeah, let's put a beautiful rose there. Tuck that in, get rid of those scraps. Thank you, as always, for joining me in the nest. And I will see it with a literal nest. It's hard to get the whole picture of that, but just so you know, if you don't know, that's what we're working on. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for being with me. Bye for now.